Hi, welcome to SBR.TV, where we're previewing the betting lines for all the bowl games with Justin Seven, of course. And right now we're going to look at the bowls for December 31st and then do the January 1st games right after. So, Justin, thanks for being with us once again. And let's start right off with two games on December 31st that are kind of similar and interesting in similar ways. They both involved armed services teams that focus on the run offensively, facing teams with huge passing games. And that's Air Force against Houston and Navy, Missouri. Now, both Air Force and Navy are modest dogs, less than a touchdown, more than a field goal. So let's compare these two games. My first thought is that Air Force might be in a better position here to get an upset for a few reasons, and I'll go over them and then hear what you have to say.
I agree with you. I like Air Force in that game. In fact, I like both of the academies. But of the two, I think Air Force is in a better position.
Right. Well, that's what I think as well. I'll run down a few of the main factors that I picked up on. You can comment on any or all of them. First of all, Air Force has a great passing defense. They're actually #1 in the country in pass D. They have a very good veteran secondary that's particularly good in single coverage, and they're probably significantly better than a lot of what Houston faced in Conference USA this year. Also, Air Force dealt with an injury to their quarterback, Tim Jefferson, that slowed their offense significantly during the year, and they've been much better on offense since he got healthy. It is a bit unsettling, though, that Air Force got destroyed on the pass by BYU in their last game. So that seems to indicate that maybe they can get beat badly by the elite passing games at this level, and that their pass defense might not be quite as great as advertised. But still, the three Mountain West Bowl teams have done very well this year. Of course, they were all underdogs. They all won outright. So what do you think about all this?
Air Force, I wouldn't put as much weight on their pass defense. Remember, 3 of their games were against service academies where you're mainly up against option running and not a whole lot of passing. So that's going to tend to inflate their pass defense and make their run defense look worse than it is. But that said, statistically, I think Air Force is a better team. I'm surprised that they're an underdog. And I definitely like them getting points or even on the money line at +180.
All right, yeah, and then when you look at Navy, Missouri, it looks a bit different. Navy doesn't have the same kind of pass D that Air Force has, and Missouri right now probably has an even better passing game than Houston. Missouri, they faced better defenses than Big 12 all year long, likely better defenses, and quarterback Blaine Gabbert had an ankle injury in the middle of the year that he played through, but now he's back to full health. So I'm thinking Missouri is probably in for a big passing day here, maybe a huge passing day. Navy does run that dreaded run-heavy, triple option offense that can be so hard to prepare for. But Missouri has been great against the run this year, and their big weakness overall is actually their pass defense. So they're going to be catching a huge break here by facing a team that rarely passes. So what do you think about this game?
I like Navy small. The thing I think is a better play is over 52. I made the game total. My indicator suggested it's about 60. So I expect it to be a little bit higher scoring than the lines indicate.
All right, great. Now let's look at a game that I'm thinking maybe make a good bet on the under. It's Minnesota, Iowa State. This is a matchup of two iffy teams with a lot of weaknesses, mostly on offense. Both of their relative strengths are their defenses. Minnesota was last in the Big Ten in offense. Iowa State was a bit better offensively, but not much. The total is 48.5, which is a little bit on the low side, but I'm wondering if it's not quite low enough considering the offenses involved.
I like the over, actually. If you look at Iowa State's matchups, they had 4 games where they scored less than, I think, 24. Against Iowa, Nebraska, and Oklahoma State, 3 of those teams had very good defenses. Against average defenses, and I would consider Minnesota a fairly average defense, they're putting up, 24 or more. So I actually like the over, and I have a small lean on Iowa State also.
A small lean on Iowa State. Okay, and then let's go to the Stanford-Oklahoma game. Now, this line has some strong opinions on both sides, and it's understandable why. The line's bounced all around its opening. It opened at 10, went all the way back down to 7.5, and now it's back up to 10 right now. The biggest issue here is that Stanford's starting quarterback, Andrew Luck, is injured. He's going to be limited, might not play at all, and his replacement is that guy Pritchard, who was the starter 2 years ago, but who's played very little this year. Now, Pritchard was the quarterback in the notorious win over USC 2 years ago, so he does have experience winning big games, but overall he just isn't that good. He's more limited than Andrew Luck, and there's good reason why Luck was a starter this year and why Stanford excelled on offense so much. Luck is able to keep defenses honest, which opens things up for their great running game, and it all sort of works together. But Oklahoma now, in this game, Oklahoma is one of the best running defenses in the country, and with Pritchard at QB, Oklahoma Oklahoma will, be able to shorten the field, concentrate a lot more on stopping the run. But still, this is a 10-point line in a big game with two quality teams involved. So what do you think about this line? Is Oklahoma really deserving of a 10-point edge here?
No, they're not. If there were no injuries, I would make Oklahoma a very small favorite. Now, in this game, if you look at the difference in quarterbacks, Stanford was averaging 7.5 yards of pass play. Pritchard, whatever the hell his name is, he was averaging 6.1 yards of play. Now, if he did not improve, and the Stanford's receivers did not improve, and their offensive line did not improve since all those other games he played, they're losing 1.4 yards of pass play, and I would make a line adjustment of about 4.5 points for that. But in this case, he's likely to do better than that. So, let's assume he's 2 points a game worse. Then the fair line would be about Oklahoma -4, and I think there's value when you're getting Stanford +10.
So are you taking into consideration Pritchard's stats from 2 years ago?
I looked at it. I was doing a comparison. When you have a key injury, especially a quarterback, you have to make subjective adjustments. And there are, you're shooting from the hip. You're making your best guess. And with my best guess, even pessimistically, I think Stanford's the right side. If he turns out to play well because he's had a whole month to prepare, then, Stanford +10 is a steal.
Okay, and then finally, the last game of the day, two teams that I personally have had a very hard time getting a handle on. I'm not even thinking about playing this one, Virginia Tech and Tennessee. The line is Virginia Tech -6, total is 49. Do you have any opinions on either of these?
Yes, I like the over. So I made the fair line Tech -5 and 60. Tennessee allows 143 yards rushing a game. I mean, it's an average rushing defense, even though their defense overall is slightly above average. And rushing is Virginia Tech's strength, and I think that plays well towards the over.
All right, so what's your strongest lean of the day for December 31st?
Oh, for that day, let me think. Let me scan my notes here. I'm going to go with Stanford +10.
Stanford +10. Okay, thanks, Justin. And that's it. That covers the New Year's Eve games for SBR.TV. I'm Peter Loshak.